I only have one or two announcements that I forgot to mention yesterday. One announcement that I forgot to mention yesterday, so I'll mention that in just a second. And then we will get into questions and answers. Oh dear God. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Let's see. Sorry. Oops. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will get you taken care of. This is our rapid fire Q&A, so we will try to help you as quickly as possible. There we go. All right, so like I said before, there was one announcement that I forgot to mention last night, and I will mention that in just a second. It is rapid fire Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will try to get those answered as quickly as possible. I won't be reading all the comments tonight. We'll only be reading the questions. So if you do have any questions, put a couple question marks or exclamation points at the beginning and or at the end of your comment, and I will make sure that we get you taken care of. And the one announcement that I forgot to mention was for QuailCon, which is in September. There are shirts and some apparel available at whiskeytangofarms.net that they will be bringing to QuailCon. They will not be bringing many extras, so make sure that you order that now. And I guess I did have two announcements. The other announcement is for the dinner. If you've purchased the dinner, we're actually going to have a pig roast as well as a quail cookout. So we're going to have a lot of different meats and fun things available. The pig that we'll be using is here on the farm. It's grass-fed, very healthy, and so that will be a lot of fun. We tried that out for July 4th just for us to see, and it worked out extremely well. We'll be posting some videos about how we did it shortly, but yeah, it was delicious, and I think you will enjoy that as well, but I forgot to mention that. Let's get into the comments again. If you have any questions, tonight is rapid fire Q&A. Ask your questions, put some question marks at the beginning and or at the end of your comment, and I will make sure I see it. If you've got questions about quail, about raising quail, about quail for profit, about QuailCon, or anything else, feel free to ask, and we will do our very best to help you as quickly as possible. So, James is in the house. Welcome. Says, 2 questions for Zach. Can you give us any hints or teasers about the new colors you'll be introducing at QuailCon 2022? Well, that is 2 of them are feather sexable. 1 is not. 1 is going to be in the top. The one that is not feather sexable is going to be in the top 5 of production. We've really focused on that quite a bit. So that will be a very productive quail. The other 2 are going to be rare colors. I've never seen them before until we started working on them, and they are absolutely gorgeous. They're both feather sexable, and that's all I'm willing to give away right now. How long is the current backlog on Myshire eggs? Continued. If I place an order tonight, how long till you could ship? Really depends on what you order. If you order anything other than jumbo wilds, jumbo white wings, jumbo Egyptians, and jumbo mix, if you order anything else, it'll probably most likely go out sometime next week. We're about a week out. It'll say on the website at the very top in a big banner thing. Yeah, so jumbo whites, any of the colors, any of the mixes other than jumbo mix is about 5 to 7 days out. Again, if you have any questions, ask now, and put some question marks at the beginning so I can see it. A lot of comments. Not very many questions. Joy's in the house. Welcome. Linda Easton Waller is in the house. Welcome. Foster Farm says, can we buy cages and quail at QuailCon? You will. We're going to have hatching eggs available. We're going to have chicks, live birds available. We're going to have supplies available. Wynola Ranch and Dale's Quails will be here for cages and brooders. So yeah, you could potentially have your whole setup on your way home. Plus, we'll be doing some raffles for some incubators. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. PJ's Family Farm says, hello all, welcome, we're glad you're here. JP says, what's happening with the bird virus? That's a great question. It is subsiding. I will have a video for you. Our inspector for MPIP, which is, they kind of control the MPIP, or the testing and the AI, avian influenza, things like that. He'll be out here Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. To test our quail. We do it every 3 months, every quarter. So I'm going to convince him to do a video for you about AI and the update on that when he's here on Wednesday, and I'll be posting that. If by chance he can't do the video, I do have about 7 questions here that I'm going to ask, and then I'll just do the video. But usually he's pretty good at just saying, yeah, start rolling and I'll answer the questions. So yeah, you'll have better information than what I can provide you for right now in just a few days. So stay tuned to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon for notifications so you see when it pops up. But that'll be posted later on this week. Let's see. Adrian says, how many people are coming to QuailCon? I think right now there's only 2 tickets left. I'll probably be adding on a few more. So with 2 tickets left, that's going to put us, God, I don't know, 340 maybe. Yeah, so there's going to be quite a bit of people. I think I'm going to probably add on maybe another 50. But we'll see if we sell out in the first place. So a pretty good turnout so far. Dwayne says, what is the best incubator to buy? I don't like to answer that question because I think it varies per individual and what your needs are. So I've done some reviews and we're going to continue to do some reviews. There's a playlist called Quail Product Reviews on our YouTube channel. That's the playlist. If you go to that playlist, there's a couple of videos in that playlist that are about the incubators. So there's like a Little Giant, a Nurturite 360, a Humidator. We're working on the Farm Innovator now, and we're just giving you the details. We are setting it up, putting eggs in, giving you the hatch rate, giving you the fertility rate, and things like that, so that you can better decide if that works for you or not. I think that the Nurturite 360 is better for beginners, but it only holds a limited amount of eggs. So the Little Giant worked really well for me, but I've heard horror stories about it before, but it worked really well for me. So not only will that kind of give you some advice and insight on what would work best for you, but also tips and tricks on how to get the best hatch rate out of those. And we'll continue to bring those videos to you. Don is in the house. My zucchini is growing like crazy. My quail love it. How much is too much for them? You can't, not enough. Not enough. They'll eat it and eat it and nothing wrong with it. Yeah, they love cucumber. That's their absolute favorite, but they're not very picky. Thomas is in the house. I heard that breeding gold to gold can be harmful to the offspring or something like that along with silver to silver. How much of that is true? That is not true. Now, we breed golden Manchurians to Italians. We classify them both as golds, just because we were working with a breeder many years ago. He was overseas, and we were putting Italian to an Italian and then gold Manchurian to gold Manchurian. And he asked what our sizes were. And he said, well, put the gold Manchurian males with the Italian hens and you'll increase like a size and a half. Or an ounce and a half. And so we tried it, and it's true. So The colors are more vibrant, and they're bigger quail, and they lay larger eggs when you put Golden Manchurian with Italians. So that's what we do for that reason, but you could easily put Italians with Italians or Manchurians with Manchurians or mix and match, and it's not going to hurt anything. Adrian, that's a great question, though. Adrian said, I heard that there will be hatching eggs for sale at QuailCon. I'm flying in. Can they be shipped home for a fee? Yep, absolutely. We'd be able to take care of you there. We actually, so last year I was slammed. This year we're going to be a lot more organized. And so I actually bought this Zettel thing. It's a credit card reader for the barn. So if you're wanting to buy eggs or live quail or supplies or whatever the case may be, we'll be able to just ring you up. We can also take cash. I'll have cash on hand as well. But we'll have, God, I don't know, 8,000 eggs and probably let's see, August 1st, mid-August 3. God, we'll probably have 1,600 live quail for you at different ages. So we'll have a ton of options for you. Adrian says, how many people were coming to QuailCon? Somewhere around 350 right now, but I'll probably add on about 50 more tickets. That's how many tickets have been sold, at least. Joseph says, humidity isn't important. If so, what is the correct percentage? Also, why does the egg pop up rotten during incubation period? It could be a couple different things. If it's rotten, most likely there was some sort of crack or hole in it when it started incubating, or it got cracked by the turner. So that could be an option. That's usually what the issue would be for that. Humidity is kind of important during the incubation process. It's extremely important at lockdown. So what you do is you want humidity to be somewhere between about 35 to 45%. I prefer 40 to 45% during the incubation process, which is the day you put them in until the day you put them into lockdown, which whether that's day 14 or 15. If that can vary. Some people dry hatch and that's 27%. Some people go up to 50% humidity. That's not that big of a deal during the incubation process. But after that, at lockdown, it is incredibly crucial. Because what happens is when you increase that humidity, you have to soften that egg. And the reason why you want to do that is because they're very tiny chicks, and that egg needs to soften so much that they can break through. So if you keep your humidity low during lockdown, you're going to have a lot of fertilized eggs, developed eggs, all the way through that just couldn't break through because the egg was too hard. So at that point in time, at lockdown, you want to be somewhere between 65 to 75%. What I like to do here, what works best for us, is we put ours in lockdown on day 15. And on day 15, we do 65%. The next day, we move it up to 70. The next day, we move it up to 75%. And we let it go 75% the rest of the time. And that works best for me. It's a little bit more management. So if you just say, you know what, I'm just going to set it at 70, I don't think you're going to get much better result or less results by that. It's just, I like that process, and I'm in that barn every day anyway, so it doesn't take much to just add a little bit more water to me. 70% is fine, 65% is okay, 75% is good. But if you can fluctuate that in 3 days, that's ideal. Again, it is rapid fire, and I'm going to get a lot more disciplined on rapid fire. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not going to be reading the comments unless there is a question. If there are questions, please put a couple question marks or explanation points at the beginning and or at the end so it's better for me to read it. But I am happy that all of you are here, so thank you very much. and hopefully we can help some people. We've had some really interesting, helpful questions tonight, so thank you very much for asking. Tab Nation automations in the house. Do quail dig holes to nest? I have a few holes shown up, and they love sitting in them. Yes, absolutely. Not really to nest. I mean, they will if they go broody, but it's more of just a comfortability thing. But yeah, if they go broody, then absolutely they'll do that. Sandra's in the house. Thanks, Zach. I didn't think about you being live. Appreciate instant answer. I've tried your suggestions. Keep fingers crossed. Thank you very much. And good luck. Hopefully they'll be able to send you that part, and I wish you all the best. You're doing really well considering it's all over the place. So you can't increase that temp any more than what you already have. So we just need to increase the humidity. That will increase the temp a little bit, but that'll soften the egg so much that they won't need to use that much energy to break through. So hopefully that does a trick for you. Schaefer Family Farms in the house. Where did you originally start with your jumbo lines? Both where did you get your original stock, and also what were your original weights? The original weights was like 10 ounces, 10 and a half ounces. Oh God. The original weights I think were 10 to 10 and a half for females and 9 to 9 and a half for males. Then we got it up to 12 consistently, and then we made a horrible mistake, and we mixed our sex links in with our jumbos, and that's okay if you do that now, but at that point in time our sex links were standard size, and this was years and years and years ago, and we lost that weight. They went back down to 10, and it took us a good year and a half to get it back up. And then now they're consistently at about 14 ounces. We got our stock from 2 different places. One was someone local, I'm sorry. They'll actually be here at QuailCon as an expert at a table, which is where we got some of ours first. And then we also got them from there was a farm. They're no longer in business, and we ordered a small amount from them, and we were just so impressed. We contacted them. We worked with them for about a year and a half. We were switching stuff. They only had wilds. We had a bunch of colors. They sent us wilds. We sent them some colors, and that helped us a lot. And then they contacted us. Well, George has been here, it's been about 5 years ago. And said that they were getting out of the business, some family issues, and that's a shame because they were great people. They had great stock, and they helped us a lot with our breeding program. And I haven't talked to them in a long time, but I hope they're doing well. La Rochelle Farm says, if you ran humidity high during the whole incubation period, would it be possible to reduce? I'll try that again. If humidity is kept high during incubation period, is it possible to still produce a large balut with 1 day less in time of incubation? It's possible to still produce a large balut with 1 day less. Well, it's possible. The only caution I want to warn you about is when you keep a humidity high, especially with balutes, in the long term they're going to start dying in the egg because you'll drown them. There's too much fluid in there, too much humidity. You'll drown them, and we actually ran into that issue when we got started. I think we were running it at the time like 55% humidity because that's just what you did back in the day. That's what everybody said. And we started selling balutes, And they're like, yeah, these are, much smaller. And we were like, no, they're the same size. And they're like, no. And so we started doing some research. We started opening some up. And we did realize that they started dying around day 7 to 10 when we were having that humidity, which is why we went down to the 45%. And that's why we recommend the 45% because they don't drown in the egg, but they still develop extremely well. So honestly, I can say a lot of our experience with best practices for hatching and incubating and storing eggs and all that stuff came from a lot of mistakes in balutes throughout the years. So I mean that's my thought. I don't. Again, I think 1 or 2, 3, 4 times. I think you would be okay with a higher percentage in humidity, but in the long run, especially if you're doing a lot of balutes at one time, you're gonna eventually run into a big problem that way. Says Swanson, welcome. Foster's Farm says, do quail go broody often like chickens? Can you break them as easily? No, they don't go broody as... I don't know. In the 11 years we've been doing this, I've probably had 12, maybe 15 people tell me that one of their quail go broody. It's not really something that you breed for. It's more of an environmental thing. So, if we had them in our aviary like we do with our chickens, they would be much more likely to go broody. But because we're more of a production standpoint and we need those eggs, because when you have them in an aviary setting, it is more natural, and they could go broody for you, which is nice, except for you're going to get much less production throughout the year, and so that just wouldn't work for us. But if you have them in an aviary setting, a much more natural location, they could, but it's not as common as some chickens like silkies or bantams or something like that. Essentially, Kimberly's in the house. Welcome. Started lockdown on Friday. Today's Monday. One hatch Sunday, but my humidity had dropped to 41. Curious little boy. I hurried to raise humidity 70%, but not a peep yet. Is it possible all will survive? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm not liking it too much, but I think that we can fix it. So what I'd like to do, where'd you go? Essentially, Kimberly. What I'd like to do is one hatched on Sunday. Let's go ahead and okay, so we'll just assume that you put them in on the 14th, so 15 Saturday, 16 Sunday, today's the 17th. Yeah, let's go ahead and increase your temperature by 0.5 degree and go ahead and go to that 75%. Give them another 72 hours. Give them 3 more days to hatch, but increase your temp by 0.5 degree, increase your humidity by 5%, and let it ride for 72 hours. You should be okay. We should be able to get it done. We just need to encourage them to come out a little bit sooner. Adrian says, I'm starting at my first eggs pipping and I don't remember how long until they are out. When is too long when they won't make it? First eggs pipping and I don't remember how long until they are out. Typically it can take up to, usually it's about 3 hours. Typically it can take up to 12. Usually that's a sign of a lower humidity. So what I would recommend is, if you're on, let me know what your humidity is right now, and let's work on the humidity a little bit. But that's usually a humidity issue, especially if they opened up. They need to come out, because the problem is if they don't, they're going to start vacuum sealing in there. So we need to help them out, but preferably help them out by raising the humidity. But I'd like to know where you're at on your humidity first before I tell you how much. Hopefully you're still on. Can the wire floor cages hurt the quail's feet? By Thomas. They could. So there's a good, better, best. So you can just use regular wire. That will cause bumble feet. So that could hurt them. That's an infection in their feet. You know, obviously they poop on their feet. Or they poop on their cages and then they step in it and then they go drink and then feed gets trapped. Anyways, they'll cut their feet on it because the wire's sharp. And so an infection grows, and then you'll see an inflammation of the foot and sometimes the leg. So regular wire will do that. Galvanized wire will minimize that to a degree. So galvanized wire is okay. If you use PVC coated wire, you shouldn't have maybe one in. It would be very rare for that to happen with PVC coated wire. So that's what I recommend. We redid all of our cages, and we got them from a place called critterfence.com. It's a family-owned company. I don't know much about them except for me ordering online. I've never talked to them. But they were very fast shipping, great quality. We redid our entire barn, all 67 cages, plus 16 brooders. Plus we ordered more for the emu fence, and we redid some of the aviary with it. I mean, I spent a lot of money on wire this year, and I bought it all from them. So I would definitely check them out for PVC coated wire. And that will almost completely prevent any issues with their feet. Foster says, ever put a quail under a bantam hen? We have not. I've never had a bantam hen before here, but a couple of my customers have. In fact, one person ordered 60 eggs. They could only fit 30 into the incubator. They put 30 under, I think, like 2 bantams and a silky or something like that. Or maybe it was 2 silkies and a bantam. I can't remember. Anyways, they got a better hatch rate out of that than they did their incubator. So that was pretty interesting. So yeah, it's doable. La Rochelle Farm says, with your stacked cages, did you run into an issue with your birds from the cage above pooping on the edge and hitting the eggs in the rollout below? I need poop deflectors. No, but we did that on purpose. So each cage is about 3 inches wider than the cage. Let's see, how does that work? Yeah. No. Let me rephrase that. We have 3 stacked cages, and each cage is about 1.5 inches difference when you go down. So the top cage is 1.5 inches wider than the middle cage, and then the middle cage is 1.5 inches wider than the bottom cage, and then our poop tray is actually 2 inches. No, it's 1 inch on, yeah, so 2 inches. Our poop tray is 2 inches past the top cage on each row. So there's absolutely no way that poop can get to the next level. Adrian says humidity 65, moved it to 70 today. Yeah, let's go ahead and move it. Today's 18. Yeah, let's I'm having some trust issues with that incubator reading correctly. I think you're still a little bit off of what it's saying. Go ahead and move it up to about 77%. I need to go back and read. I'm starting at my first eggs pipping, and I don't remember. Day 18. They haven't hatched yet. Actually, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and increase your humidity 7%. And then increase your temperature. I'd like you to increase your temperature a full degree. So even if it says 99.5 or even 100, increase it 1 degree, increase your humidity 7%, because we definitely need those babies to start hatching out. Or you're going to have some deformities and wry neck and things like that, curled toes. So let's increase your temp by 1 full degree and your humidity 7%. I'd probably let it go for another 4 days with your situation. I'd let it go till day 22. Schaefer Family Farm says, as far as grow outs for meat go, is it better to separate males and females, or is it better to have an even number of each in a large grow out pen? We separate ours at 3 weeks old. It usually helps the hens start laying a little earlier, and then the males will always become mature before the hens, and they'll start getting aggressive. So what we do is we have kind of a dark section in our barn. So the male cage, the bachelor pad, goes into that cage, and there's very little light, which helps with aggression and territorialism and things like that. Plus, there's no hens in there, and there hasn't been hens in there for a few weeks, and so they slow down their maturity a little bit, so they're not as active. So that's what we do. It works best for us, but you could go either way. It's not the end of the world. Linda says, I recently saw a comment from a quail owner that stated quail only lay X amount of eggs during their lifetime, therefore the owner did not encourage laying during winter because he didn't want to shorten their life. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, that's not accurate. Yeah, that's not accurate. They can lay a little bit longer if you don't have them on artificial light. You know, late fall, early winter, beginning of spring. Late fall, all of winter, early spring. They can lay a little bit longer for you, but the issue with that is that when they stop laying, a lot of bad things can happen. Sometimes they won't even start laying again. Sometimes they'll get more aggressive. Sometimes they'll get territorial. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's better for them to stay consistently. I can tell you this: the best practice I can possibly give you, the best advice I can give you when you're raising Coturnix quail is consistency is best. Consistency is what they want. They want to feel safe. They want feed at all times. They want water at all times. They don't want you to change the feed. They don't want you to change cages. They like to go into a place and stay there and be done with it. So with that being said, I don't agree with it, and that's why. I'm not a taco. Okay, Jill, like the name. Hey, I just joined. Can I have 2 males with 10 hens together without problems? Yep, absolutely. It's called community colonies, community cages. That's what we do here. We've got, multiple males and multiple hens. That's not a big deal. The only 2 things you want to know about that is you want 5 hens to every 1 male, which 10 to 2 would work, and you want 3 to 3.5 quail per square foot. Other than that, they're good to go. Not a problem at all. Yeah, I can touch on that for just a second. It looks like that's one of the last questions anyway. He looked at it as cruel. The thought was that they were born with all the eggs that they're going to lay. That's not accurate. Yeah, that's not accurate. You actually can influence. I don't want to say control. You can't control. You can influence greatly how many they lay in their lifetime and how many they don't. You put them in an environment where they don't feel safe. Well, they're barely going to lay at all. They're going to have a short lifespan because their heart just can't handle it. If it's one that just needs to be called, if it's a runt or something like that, there's a lot of factors. I mean, there's feed factors, there's environment factors, there's weather factors, there's light factors, there's genetic factors. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. So just having, saying, well, they average 300 eggs a year, they average laying consistently for at least 2 years, so, they only have 600 eggs, I'm going to expand that out. okay, but it kind of hinders the whole self-sufficient use as well. Because they produce so quickly, because you can hatch them out and start laying so quickly, it's better for you to just go a year, year and a half, 2 years with your layers, take some eggs, incubate them, hatch them out, and just replace them and keep going, rather than saying, okay, well, for some of spring and summer and some of fall, I can have eggs, but the rest of the year I have to go buy them from the supermarket or whatever the case may be. That doesn't really fit in with my whole self-sufficient thing. But to each its own. Everybody raises their quail differently, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just think differently. Glenn says, how much electrolyte should I be giving chicks in a brooder? And should I be giving electrolytes to larger birds with this heat? You can actually. I would rather you watch a short video I did. It wasn't too long ago. If you look at the most recent uploads, it really wasn't that long ago. I think I titled it like when and how to give supplements to your quail, when and how to give electrolytes to your quail, something like that. It was one of the last videos I posted because I haven't posted for a few weeks. I've been slammed. I'd rather you watch that video. I actually got with Murray McMurray Hatchery earlier this year. We talked a lot. We did a lot of same things. Some things I had been doing that I'd just been doing for a long time, and things like that. He gave a little bit of insight on that, and so we meshed together and we decided what was best for Coturnix. And so I explained it in that video on when to give them electrolytes, when's the best time, why you're doing it, and what it'll help and things like that. I think you watching that video will help you a lot more than what I can try to relay to you in a short amount of time. But the video is not very long. Welcome, Dr. Connie. Linda says, very interesting. Thank you for all the answers. Give me a new perspective, but mine will be for self-sufficiency and will be replaced anyway. There you go. Yeah, that's kind of just my thought is, you need eggs all year. And that's, I mean, that's just farm life and self-sufficient life. That's just the way, you raise animals, you feed them, you take care of them, you pay for them, and they need to produce something for you, whether it's eggs or meat or, our goats eat the weeds or whatever the case may be. Dr. Conley says, I just set the incubator with 22 eggs and set the countdown to 14 days so I know when to do lockdown. Awesome. Best of luck to you. When to give vitamins and electrolytes. There you go. Thomas says, do you plan on selling live chicks? We don't ship live chicks. We will be selling live quail again and shipping live quail starting August 1st on our website. But we won't be selling any live chicks unless they're pickup, and we don't start doing pickups until QuailCon, September. Homecack says, phew, got notification working again, just finished loading eggs for Balut. Awesome, good luck to you, and glad you got it working again, and best of luck on your Balut. I Review You says, what's your preferred humidity for incubation and lockdown? So what works best for me is 40 to 45% humidity during the incubation process. And then when you put them into lockdown, what I recommend is anywhere from 65 to 75% at lockdown, because you need to soften the egg. But what I do is the first day of lockdown is 65, the second day of lockdown is 70, the third day of lockdown is 75, and then I let it be at 75 the rest of the time. That works perfect for me. I know it's a little bit more management, so if not, then just set it in that range, preferably 70 to 75. 65 is kind of on the low end, but that should still give you good results. Witch Doctor, welcome. La Rochelle Farm says, whatever happened to the piglets from earlier this year? Did the weak ones not make it? They're actually growing like weeds. We will not be eating one of those for QuailCon, but we do have one that we've had for I don't know, a year and a half. Typically, you can butcher it about 1 year. So she's going to be pretty big. We're going to have a lot of people here. And so it's going to be real healthy, real good for you, real exciting. So we're going to be doing a hog roast or pig roast for QuailCon, as well as the quail cookout. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, the ones that made it earlier in the year are in the field eating like crazy. What does self-sufficient mean to everyone? Do you want to be off-grid or just more reliant from your land? You know, I think, in my opinion, self-sufficiency means a lot of different things. Self-sufficiency means that you're relying more on yourself than you are on other factors. And that could be a lot of different things. I think that you can be self-sufficient by not having any animals or gardening, but being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Because you're relying on yourself more than you're relying on a paycheck from someone else. But I think that self-sufficiency is easily raising some quail and having meat and eggs, or pigs, or cows, or garden, or bees, or whatever the case may be. So I think that self-sufficiency is more relying on oneself to take care of oneself, rather than relying on corporations or big box stores or government or this, that, or the other. But yeah, that's a great question for everybody to answer. I do not have them in the house. They went to the stalls. They went to the stalls for about 2 months. We put them in we put them in around the pond, and they're as happy as can be. They've got a little shelter out there, and they're doing great. Thomas says, do you sell regular wild quail farrow hatching eggs? Only in the feather sexable mix do we have regular. So not separately. You'd have to buy the feather sexable mix to get the standard. Foster Farms to self-sufficiency means we don't panic when the grocery store is out of something. It's a good feeling. There you go. Self-sufficiency for the win. There you go. That is all the comments, ladies and gentlemen. So not too long. I did try to go fast, so hopefully you appreciated that. We had a lot of really good questions tonight, a lot of unique questions, which is always very interesting. I do have one more question I'll answer real quick. How many batteries do you go through candling balut? Holy crap. I know, right? We go through about 4 batteries a month. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but wow, that's a lot. Especially coming from a little candler. Yeah, we go through a lot. Duracell works amazing. Duracell works amazing in those Incubrite candlers. I mean, wow. S. McKee says, hi everyone, I made up 100 deviled quail eggs for my family's reunion. They love them. Awesome. Very cool. They are delicious. And that is all the questions. So thank you very, very much for everybody that showed up. Hopefully you guys got some questions answered, and we were able to help you on your journey. I will be doing a update on the avian influenza this week, so stay tuned for that. I've got 4 hours dedicated on Thursday night, from 5 to 9, to work on YouTube videos, edit some stuff, put some stuff up. I'm not going to be posting them right away. They'll be, in stages, but I am going to try to get back to it starting this week with YouTube videos, so watch out for those as well. And I think that is it. So everybody, thank you very, very much. Everybody have a great night, have a great week, and until next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, stay safe.